Hey guys, hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. It's day 18 of my 30-day video challenge. It's about 11:20 in the evening, so I got 40 minutes to shoot a video and upload it. But I'm really pumped to make another video for you guys. And today I wanted to talk about some exciting news. One of my friends who started a company about a year or two after we started ours, but we had the opportunity to witness him really build the company from 3 to 4 employees to now close to 60, or actually above 60, with a beautiful office and just an overall incredible story. Um, and it's funny because they're both brothers founders as well, which is similar to my brother and I. So a lot of similarities, but they've just closed a pretty big financing round. I believe it's $13 million, 10 or $13 million US. Really big story. Everybody's covered them. The New York Times, all the big publications in Toronto, and just a little bit crazy because that's a whole lot of money. And I'm sure he's super ecstatic. His name's Tyler, but I'm sure he's under, um, I'm sure a little bit of pressure, and it's probably a surreal feeling. And they've been growing and moving pretty quick. And the company name is Inkbox, and what they do is, um, think of it as 2 to 3 week temporary tattoos, and I think a lot of their customers, they use their platform and their tattoos first to decide which tattoo they want to get. So it's like a really good way to figure out what you actually want to put on your body permanently without making a mistake. They're really high quality. They're good for your skin, and they have a beautiful experience and a beautiful brand. And they just raised a lot of money, and it's super exciting. And I had an opportunity to kind of sit back and um, and think about kind of their journey versus our journey and how incredible it's been on their end. And I wanted to talk about, I guess, the two different types of businesses that one can build, and the approach they took versus kind of the approach that we ended up taking. And me and Tyler had this conversation before, and I remember he was always telling me, he's like, "What kind of business do you want to build? Do you want to build like, a venture-backed business where you get outside funding and you essentially give up a little bit of equity in your company, but you have the opportunity to move a lot quicker. You have the opportunity to invest, and really those kind of businesses, although you're giving up equity, if the opportunity is right, there's really no better time to take outside funding to grow the business. Or do you want to build like a lifestyle business, which you do it fully on your own? Um, there's no accountability to anybody except yourself. You have full freedom, which I guess is why it's called a lifestyle business as well, because it's fully on your own terms. And I remember, we always talked about that, and me going through kind of that world in a previous life in 2012 while I was in San Francisco. I I really wanted to focus on growing this one without outside capital. So we kind of took the lifestyle approach, and um, he took the VC backed approach, and we've watched how things have progressed in parallel. And I think it's an important um, consideration for anybody who's getting into or building a company or in their early stages to really determine kind of the approach you want to go, because I think both approaches have advantages and disadvantages. And I think it's important to really understand what those advantages and disadvantages are for both approaches, because they're complete opposites, right? For example, from the lifestyle business perspective, where you're not taking any outside funding, you're not raising any capital, you're not giving up any equity. Some of the advantages are, you don't really have any pressure from investors to grow, to do aggressive moves, to test, to really use their money wisely, to invest. They don't want to give you the capital to just sit there and look pretty in your bank account. What they want to do is they want to have you grow exponentially, right? And for them, I think a lot of these investors, they're looking for 50 to 100x return on their capital. So for them, it's a numbers game. They invest in a lot of companies, and they have the expectation that they're gonna have one or two or three really big winners that will pay back for all the losers. But you definitely get that pressure, and with that pressure comes, a little bit of a harsh reality. When you're not performing, you do have the ability to get fired from your own company. And I personally know a number of founders that have unfortunately had to face that reality. And it's crazy to even think about, right? Like, you're starting a company, you're growing it, it's your baby, it's your idea, and next thing you know, um, some senior gray hair investors just kick you out. And wild roller coaster, but it happens more often these days than not. So, those are kind of some of the advantages of a lifestyle business. Is you kind of have the freedom, you don't have the pressure from the outside investors, and you really can't get fired. You're still your own boss. And of course, some of the disadvantages are you can't move as fast, right? You better be getting into a business that's highly has really good margins, highly profitable. You better have a customer early on, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to survive very long if you're not going to seek outside capital. And of course, some other disadvantages are you can't just go around and testing new things, testing new markets, testing new products. You're always uh, scarce in resources, because you just don't have that influx of capital to play around with. So getting to profitability is super key, I think, in both scenarios, but especially if you choose the lifestyle business route, which is highly dependent on just your own personal capital or friends or family. Um, I'll touch up on some of the advantages of and disadvantages of having a VC-backed company, but obviously, the kind of the one that comes to mind easily is with VC capital means you get access to funds, and you have the ability to get an influx of capital and resources, which allows you to move fast if you found a great opportunity in the market, especially if you found a product market fit, which is, I talked about this in a previous video, but it's essentially a product that your customers are happy with and willing to pay for it at the price point that you're selling it at, and they'd be super upset if you disappeared. So at that point, all you want to do is you want to move really, really, really fast, and you want to grow as fast as possible. But if you don't have the access to capital, you can't hire the right people, you can't invest in marketing, and you simply can't grow. And what you're gonna be stuck being stagnant or growing at a pretty small growth rate, which kind of sucks, because the opportunity is going to be slipping away, and somebody else can come in and take over your territory. I think the other huge opportunity when you have kind of a VC-backed business is you have the ability to attract and hire some really great talent that has, a little bit of a higher expectation in regards to compensation, in regards to the kind of companies they want to be involved with. Um, and some of the disadvantages, the basic one is you're giving up percentages and ownership in your company to someone else in exchange for capital. That's never easy for founders to do. I think the other one for me is probably a big disadvantage would be having to report to someone, right? You all of a sudden have a board of directors, which is obviously an advantage and a disadvantage, because you can get some great insight and feedback, and obviously those folks have walked in your shoes in the past, but you essentially now kind of have a boss that you have to work alongside, but also, if things don't go well, like I mentioned earlier, these people do have the ability to let you go. Um, the other one that a lot of people don't think about is if the company doesn't really work out, or if you end up selling the company, but you don't end up selling it for a great deal of capital, usually the founders get paid last after the investors. There's clauses in the documentation that have preferential treatment for them. So a lot of the times, you hear of companies that, are sold for the tens or 20 millions of dollars, but they've raised a lot of capital, and it's kind of not the greatest exit, but a lot of the time the founders are just simply not going to have any piece of that pie, because it all goes back to paying the investors and some of the other folks that have contributed funds into your company. So advantages and disadvantages of both, and I don't want to make it a detailed video, although this is already about 10 minutes long, but I just wanted to bring up and have you guys really consider, if you do decide to go down that route, what route and kind of what direction you want to go, because I think it's a conversation you need to have with your founders and your folks, that you're working with early on to really make a decision. And of course, the decision can change along the way, but I think having the right intent is important, and it's gonna really help you in your decision making along the way. Um, so yeah, big congrats to Tyler, Braden, and the whole Inbox team. You guys are absolutely amazing. Can't wait to see you guys continue to crush it and essentially become the biggest, I guess, tattoo brand in the world. I guess there's really not many tattoo brands that they've kind of made themselves the destination these days, and can't wait to see what they're up to. And great example for those that want to see uh, a well executed online experience. Go to inkbox.com and check them out. And that is it for day 18. Have a great night. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you stuck around for 11 minutes, I love you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.